So this is actually an idea that Adnan came up with, which I thought was great, and you know, we both had some ideas on it. But our topic of the week is an interesting kind of POV, and we mentioned earlier the Resident Evil 2 remake, but that was a good game. That was a game people liked, and they're remaking it because people want to see it. So our topic of the week is kind of a question. The question is, should publishers, developers, you know, so on, remake or reboot bad games? So basically, should they get that idea and kind of, you know, take another shot at it? Excuse me, like try to like reinvent that idea into something better, something cooler. You know, dude, like, I never thought of this until now, but I think an idea just of an example of that came to mind. Do you remember the game series Red Steel on Wii?
Oh yeah, I remember the hype behind that fucking thing.
Yeah, man. The first game, it was a Wii launch title, and there's such a large hype, and that game sucked, man. It was one of the few games I've ever bought that I returned back to GameStop. It was so bad, man. And they made a sequel to it, and the sequel, they kept marketing the sequel, oh, okay, it's Red Steel 2, but really, it's a reboot, because it really has nothing to do with the original, aside from the title. And it really didn't. For all intents and purposes, the game had it had a different art style, didn't reference the first game at all, had like a new character. It was almost like in name only. That's really the only example I could think off the top of my head. And it's technically a sequel, so it doesn't really count, but in the spirit of it, that is kind of like a remake, reboot. And it was pretty good. It was a lot better than the first game. But I don't think I've ever, aside from that, I don't think straight up I've ever seen someone do something like that.
Yeah, it's very hard to do. I mean, like, I think there's kind of like this question I've always asked more in the sense of like Hollywood and stuff, but it does apply to gaming.
Right.
I just think that most of them kind of look at it when it's already kind of, it's failed once, it's almost doomed to fail twice, which is the irony. Yeah. Because when they do it towards a good film, it's failed to doom. It's going to fail anyway. But yeah, I just think that, you know, it would be such a great kind of like fresh air, like just tackle bad films. Obviously, you can remake bad films, and then you can learn from. This is the thing though, because a lot of places aren't going to accept criticisms or like negatives and stuff. They just want to bury that stuff and like go on. But I feel like with gaming, like, you know, some of the shit we've seen that has come out in the last 20 years or so, you can't fix it. Like, you can just get, you know, industries evolve, people change, you introduce new minds towards things. Mm-hmm. People who have, like, you know, a fresh insight and vision into what they want to do. So I definitely think you can do it. I think, like, maybe, this is not like a bad game or anything, but, like, you know, it's kind of like Tomb Raider as an example, how that was revitalized for 2015. The 2000s, like, you know, that was going downhill faster than like a rock, and they kind of like, you know, slowly crept up the hill with like Tomb Raider. Now it's kind of getting to its high point now with Rise of the Tomb Raider. But I do think there's loads of games that you can just pluck out the air from like the 90s, the 2000s, just remake them into better games. But it's just about selling them though. That's the big thing.
Yeah, because you know, and dude, I'm looking at like while we're talking, I'm looking at my shelf of like old retro games, and I just thought of another example. This is kind of like a side note, but Killzone 2. The original Killzone was a god-awful, fucking terrible fucking game. Killzone 2 was a great fucking game. That game was awesome. It, like, easily one of the best PS3 games. And that was, again, like, not a remake, or a reboot, but it was a sequel to a game that, like, did better. You know, dude, that is a tough call, like, rebooting something, because, like, you know, something being bad, it could be subjective. Like, I could argue that, oh man, like, this game on NES sucks because I'm terrible at it. Like, I'm actually terrible at Mega Man games, really bad at them. I wouldn't say they're bad games though. I'm just really bad. So, like, people might think like that could be a different angle, like getting a game that people like, but maybe other people thought was bad because of difficulty, and then making a reboot or a remake off of that and making it a touch easier. So then people can like have more access to it, or, you know, feel like, oh man, we could jump into this game more. I mean, shit, I can't think of a game right now that I would consider bad. I mean, I think like there's like Too Human. That was a great concept. I mean, that game, you remember that game? That game was like originally, I remember when they first announced it, they were like, Too Human is a 9-disc epic on the PlayStation 1. And and people were like, wow, a 9-disc epic? And that game never came out. And then they started developing it on GameCube, and then they moved it to Xbox 360, and then it came out on Xbox 360, and boy, people hated that game. Like, that game got its ass handed to it. Super hardcore, especially after Dennis Dyack was like so hardcore supporting that game. He was like, "You guys should play it first. How dare you? Play it first." And they're like, "All right," and they play it, and they're like, "It's still a piece of shit." So like that, I think that's a great concept though. Like that had a great idea, like of it being like a modern or like a futuristic retelling of like the Norse mythology. What a great fucking idea! If they were to get that and remake that. 5 years from now, because I think people still remember it, so you need to wait even longer. I think that would be a great fucking game to remake. Excellent idea. You could do something. You could make it more like of a Devil May Cry-esque game or something, like an action game, and have like a really epic, like Uncharted-esque story thrown in there. That'd be fucking cool as shit. I don't know, dude. Is there anything off of your top of your head that you think? This could be subjective. I think the original Metal Gear sucks. I hate it. And if they were to remake that, I'd be so happy. He's
putting he's putting everything on the table. I think that's a bold claim to make, Christopher. Very bold claim. That game does not suck. That game was a game-defining moment.
Okay, no, you're right. That's the thing. That's the whole, do I think it sucks because I'm bad at it? Yeah. Is the game bad itself? Probably not. But, that's another game. It's not a bad game, but you're right. But I would love to see that game remade in 3D.
If anything, that game is dated, if anything. It's hard to do it that way.
Yeah.
Right, so I've jumped onto Wikipedia now, and, I want to kind of make this thing that, some games are just terrible, and they shouldn't, it kind of... This kind of overlaps with the topic and kind of makes it contradictory, but some games are terrible and they shouldn't be remade. For example, Stalin's vs. Martians, which was released, let me have a look, in 2009. It's a parody of a real-time strategy video game. Right? I'm just saying that game should never exist. Don't even care. You can't even define that as satire. That is just stupidity in every fucking level.
Hey, time will tell on that, alright?
Wow. It is on the lowest scoring negative thing on thingy. But going back into it as well, the article jumps in different periods and picks up certain games. Obviously, Superman 64 is there. Notoriously, it's going to be there. Another one on here is South Park, the PC and PlayStation, which was released in the 1990s.
Shit, you're right. That was
for
a
example,
piece of shit.
Yeah, it received ones and stuff like that, and they kind of remade. They don't necessarily remake the bad game, but they kind of reimagined it as something absolutely amazing with a stick of truth. But there's a long list of them. Obviously, again, Shaq Fu, that games that should not exist. It's a difference between remaking bad games. But again, here's another one. Friday the 13th. It's a hard one to do, but you could probably give it a good crack in 2015. Telltale could do it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would completely make that game get its strengths and totally do something different with it. That'd be really interesting, actually.
Yeah, and again, Pac-Man was remade as well, Atari 2600.
Yeah, but that's a good game. Pac-Man's the shit.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean the Atari 2600 version there.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you're gonna have bad ports. I mean that's always, but the core game, that's a great.
Oh,
game.
The core game is just it's a defining game.
Right.
But there are games that you'd probably be able to pull out from everywhere, that have been bad. There's very few in the list, but it's possible. But I think it's just kind of one of those things that you kind of want to throw about. But again, it's so hard to sell because it's it leaves such a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
Trying to reimagine. But I mean, putting a big name behind it would literally turn heads. Anything can turn heads. Hideo Kojima developing Stalin's vs. Martians remake. Regardless, that would be ludicrous of Hideo Kojima working on a remake of Stalin's vs. Martians. You still get attention to it. And I think it kind of puts more faith in the public of, the actual people behind it. It's almost similar to, the Josh Trank thing. I think people will support Josh Trank. You might find it hard to get, after slagging off a studio openly. But he will get a lot of support from people, though.
Man, dude, I have another game because again, I'm looking through my collection. I have another game. What's it called? Kinect Star Wars, man. Like,
oh yeah.
I still remember when that game was announced. That's the reason I bought a Kinect. I bought a fucking Kinect because I remember they showed the demo, and it was these two people. They raised their arms, and the main character took out a lightsaber, and I'm like, wow, you get to use a lightsaber, and it scans your body. And then like they were in Cloud City, and they were fighting stormtroopers, and then they like fight Darth Vader at the end. I'm like, you get to fight Darth Vader. And then the game came out, and it was nothing like what they showed us. It was like absolutely, positively nothing like any of the demos and everything. And I think just getting that concept of a game where maybe if you could move with like a joystick, I think it would have been a better PlayStation Move game, to be honest. Like something where you move with a joystick, you have these like, you know, like concrete like controllers in your hands, but then like, you know, you could like take out your lightsaber, you know, and like do like they never did that correctly. Like, and Kinect Star Wars was like the closest thing we got to that, and they never did that. Get that idea again, you know, don't call it Kinect Star Wars, but get that idea and like make that into a game now. I mean, motion controls are dead, unfortunately, so it'll probably not happen, but make a game that revolves around the lightsaber. But like, you know, like you could use it, I don't know, I don't know how the fuck they do it with like modern controls, but I would love a game that just has to do with like lightsaber duels and stuff like that. I think that would just be so fun.
Oh, definitely. It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool way of doing it. But, yeah, it's just hard to kind of do the thing. I think it's just like, you know, it'd take a lot of balls from a producer to go to a shit kind of IP or product and like remake it, which is a shame because some things could kind of be reimagined.
Yeah.
Some things deserve to be dead, though. Kind of asked for it.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, like, what was it? Remember Heavenly Sword? Like, what a great idea of a game that was, and you could beat it in like an hour.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That's another thing. But it's like a big. You're right. It's a tough call. You had to have like brass balls, or like, you know, brass ovaries, or something. Like you gotta have strong innerness, all right, to like say to yourself, I'm going to get something that everyone said was crap and remake it into something good. I don't think we'll ever really see that. It's not like movies, you know? Like in movies, like when a new studio gets the rights to something, they say, hey, let's take a crack at it. Like, you know, look at Daredevil. We mentioned that earlier. Like, look at what Fox made, man, with Ben Affleck. And then look at what Marvel did on Netflix. Like, different format, I know, but like it was live action Daredevil. That was fantastic what Marvel made. So yeah, so like, you know, I don't know if we'll see. Video games are still relatively young, so I don't know if maybe like when we're older, you know, that'll be something they do. But I agree. I think that'd be really fucking cool to like do that. Let's get E.T., man. Let's get E.T. and remake that.
Well, do you remember when I said something should be dead?
That's what.
Day one update. They changed the guns to walkie-talkies.
We got to do it, man. E.T. Let's get E.T. Let's make it greatest game ever. Yeah, let's kickstart that bitch. Let's make it greatest game ever made. But yeah, like that's definitely a big example of it. So yeah, if you guys listening, if you have any ideas, you know, of stuff, let us know, because that'd be definitely, you know, I'm sure we missed out on a ton of stuff, but it's a tough call. It really is, like, for anyone to do that. I don't think we'll see it anytime soon, though. I'd love to be proven wrong, though. I mean, that would definitely get a lot of headlines. Like, hey, we know that game got really bad reviews. We're making a remake of it. Like,
it definitely gets some big gamer headlines, but I mean, like,
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's probably everything.
But all right, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up our show for the week. Go ahead and take us home, Adnan.
Yeah, so that's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow the Gamer Headline Show on Twitter @TGH Show, and like our official Facebook page, the Gamer Headline Show, for up-to-date episodes from Gamer Headlines' official podcast. Additionally, the Gamer Headline Show can be found on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, and of course right here at GamerHeadlines.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.